The smoke was still rising when David fell to his knees. His home burned, his camp silent, and the laughter of his enemies echoed in the distance. But the worst part wasn't the fire, it was the emptiness. His wives, the children, every family in Ziklag, gone, kidnapped, vanished. And in that moment, even his own men, battle-hardened warriors, lifted stones to kill him. David had never felt so alone. But this wasn't where David's story began. Before the fire, before the ashes, David had been running from King Saul, living like a fugitive, trying to protect his people with the little strength he had left. He was exhausted, tired of fighting, tired of hiding, tired of losing everything again and again. Ziklag was the only place he thought was safe, the only home he had. Until this moment. David looked around at the destruction. The ashes were still hot, pieces of broken toys, scattered sandals, empty beds. Everything reminded him that the people he loved were now in enemy hands. The man began to cry, grown warriors weeping until they had no strength left. Their voices cracked, their hearts broke. They blamed David. They shouted at him. They questioned him. He heard every word, every insult, every threat. And in that moment, David didn't feel like a leader. He felt like a failure. The weight on his chest was heavy. The fear was real. What if they're gone forever? What if God has left me? What if I've made the worst mistake of my life? The man who killed Goliath, the man who conquered lions and bears, now trembled in the ashes of his own home. His mind was spinning. His heart was breaking. His people were gone. His men wanted to kill him. His hope was fading. So David did the only thing he knew how to do. He wept, and then he prayed. Not a long prayer, not a perfect prayer, just a broken one. Lord, should I pursue them? Will I recover anything? Silence. Then something shifted. A whisper in his spirit, a strength returning, a voice rising in the emptiness. David encouraged himself in the Lord. He wiped his tears. He stood up slowly. His eyes sharpened. His heart steadied. A new fire began to rise inside him. And then God spoke. Pursue. You will surely overtake them, and you will recover all. Not some, not half, all. David felt power surge through him. It didn't make sense. The Amalekites were stronger, faster, and far ahead. But when God steps in, distances disappear. David gathered his 600 men. Some were still crying, some were still angry. But something about David's voice, steady, unbroken, confident, made them follow. Along the journey, a dying Egyptian slave was found on the ground. Nobody knew him, nobody cared for him, but God placed him there. A divine clue, a supernatural compass. The slave pointed David straight to the Amalekite camp, and when David reached it, the enemies were drinking, dancing, celebrating, thinking they had already won. But God had the final say. David and his men attacked. The battle was fierce, but heaven fought with them. And just as God promised, they recovered everything. Every wife, every child, every possession. Nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lost. The moral lesson of the story is clear. Sometimes God allows you to reach your lowest point so you can discover His highest power. Sometimes the ashes in your life are not the end. They are the beginning of recovery. When it seems like everything is gone, when people blame you, when it feels like God is silent,
That is the moment to do what David did. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Because the same God who restored David, the same God who brought back everything, is the same God who can restore you, your peace, your family, your joy, your destiny. Nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lost. But this isn't the only moment where God shocked everyone in the Bible. There is another story, more dramatic, more mysterious, and even more unbelievable. And that is what I'll share next.